All right, besties, welcome back to the second race of the triple header filled with high speed heartbreak and strategic chaos. We're kicking things off under the lights in the desert. It's the Bahrain Grand Prix, home of the dramatic debuts, night race magic, and that one time Grosjean literally walked out of fire like a Marvel hero. Since 2004, this track's been serving up more plot twists than a Netflix thriller, from first lap lunges to DRS drag races down the endless main straight. And let's not forget, Bahrain was where we first saw Max vs. Lewis go full anime in 2021. Will this year bring redemption arcs, rookie revelations, or another pit stop blunder to haunt someone's sleep? Only time and tire degradation will tell. On today's episode, we have myself, Melissa, Amy, Ito, and Chelsea behind the scenes, so strap in because the lights are out and so are our predictions. Let's get into Bahrain.
Now, before I jump into it, because y'all, I'm back at it again with track changes. I do have to point out the fact that I completely forgot we were in the middle of a triple header or heading into a triple header until Mel's intro, because I don't know how that slipped my mind, but apparently your girl forgot that I was in for a triple header. Whoops. Now, I do have a mild laundry list of track changes, so I'm gonna just get right on into it. So we, at the exit to turn 4, have a gravel bed that's been extended. The U drain close to the racing line was closed off by cement and moved away from the white line into the runoff areas. We had repairs to the bumps at the start line straight and at turn 9, removal of the curb on the right hand side of turn 3, replacement of the glasses at the start and finish platforms. A blue line was added behind the white line at the entrances of turns 4 and turn 6. A blue line was added behind the white line at the exit of turns 2, 4, 10, 11, 13, 14, and 15. And they widened the white line at the exit of turn 4 and repositioned the blue line behind said white line.
Now, we can't talk about race weekend without mentioning some pre-race fun. Now, there wasn't really much special helmets or special liveries for Bahrain, but I mean, someone always does something. And that someone was Lando. He had a special helmet for this weekend, a la dark mode. The black glitter with the neon yellow green that he uses. I'm obsessed.
I know at least PGP heard me screaming over the glitter, but I'm pretty sure at least the state of Massachusetts heard me squealing over the glitter, because oh my god, the glitter. Guys, I really, really, really need them to make an actual mini version of this helmet so badly. They have I think the 2-to-1 ratio version, and it's too much money. I can't afford it, but I want it so bad. It's so cute. I'm a sucker for glitter on helmets. So is anybody surprised? No. I don't know if anybody noticed this going into the race weekend, because I feel like they kind of didn't make this a big deal until we were into the race weekend, and that is the fact that Barilla is now a sponsor of F1. Yes, guys, the Italian-based food company, Barilla, the pasta brand. They signed in a contract to be F1's first ever partner in that category, with pasta bars set to be placed around the paddock and Paddock Club, alongside with trackside signage, consumer promotions, and digital media advertising. Starting with Bahrain, the branded pasta bars will be at most Grand Prix that F1 holds around the world. So, you're telling me I can go get some pasta and then watch cars go vroom? Hell yeah. I love it.
You mentioned the little pasta bars, and I need to go really bad. I love pasta. And I mean, what perfect partnership collaboration, because literally eat pasta, drive fasta. If you know, you know. But I literally giggled when I saw the signs on track. I was just like, is that? And I was like, wait, I literally buy that pasta brand all the time. It's my favorite one to buy. So it literally just made my little self giggle.
Yeah, they definitely took the eat pasta, drive pasta literally with this one. But also, fun fact, Paolo Barilla, the former CEO and current deputy chairman of Barilla, is a former Minardi F1 driver. He raced for them in 1989 and 1990. So, honestly, why didn't this happen sooner?
The 6 degrees of separation within F1 is honestly so insane. What?
It all needs to be studied at this point. Now, some pre race fun literally before the race, we had Sir Jackie Stewart reunited with his title winning Tyrrell 006 as he did a special drive again ahead of the race. And the drive combined with F1 75th anniversary, 60th anniversary of Sir Jackie Stewart's F1 debut, and 10 years of his charity, Racing Dementia. It is simply amazing.
Agreed. Especially because he wore a helmet signed by a few racing legends, including Michael Schumacher's initials. And we all know what happened to Michael and how he's been AWOL, basically, for lack of a better term. And apparently he signed the helmet with his initials with the help of his wife Corinna, and that just breaks my heart. It's so cute. And also with Jackie's age being in the 80s, it's likely the last time we will see him in a racing car. I mean, even that him in his 80s being in a racing car is amazing to begin with.
Now, going into the meat and bones of the weekend, we have FP1. And it was rookies galore again with the first practice session for this race. We had Dino Beganovic for Ferrari, Ayumu Iwasawa for Red Bull, Frederick Vesti for Mercedes, Felipe Drogovic for Aston Martin, Ryo Hirakawa for Haas, and Luke Browning for Williams. Apologies in advance for any mispronunciations. Your girl tried her best with this.
You guys know that, like, here at PGP, we stand seeing rookies on track, even if they're drivers that, like, we have technically already all seen in F1 cars before. I love getting to see Vesti in an F1 car. Felipe in an F1 car is one of my favorite things in the entire world, but, like, yay, rookies on track. We need more. We will be getting more, I think, I hope.
Yes, we'll definitely be getting more. And looks like everyone wanted to get the rookie sessions out of the way early this year. Then again, Bahrain's a good track for it because that's also where the rookie tests are held every year. So it's a track they know, it's a good bar baseline. But as I said, we'll be seeing more rookies because the rookie sessions, the amount they have to do per year doubled from compared to last year. So last year it was 2 sessions per team, aka 1 session per car. This year it is 2 sessions per car, aka 4 sessions per team. So no wonder they're starting early. I wonder where they will hold them though, because we have a lot of sprint race weekends and so forth coming up. I bet Abu Dhabi will be another hot one at the end of the year.
I mean, we got like 20 more races left this season, so they have options at the end of the day. Now, your top 3 for the first practice session, we had Lando in P1, followed by Pierre in P2, and Lewis in P3.
And your bottom 5 was Felipe, Ryu, Frederick Vesti, and Ayumu, and Kimi Antonelli.
Now, going into the second free practice session, there was really nothing going on except Fernando's steering wheel simply just comes off. I don't know if you guys saw that, but like he's driving it just like literally just pops off. Like, huh? That's all I could say when I saw those videos was just like, what happened here?
Sometimes I think Fernando Alonso is a walking meme. Like, seriously, either he's a walking meme or somebody has like cursed that man. Because sometimes his luck is trash. We love you, Nando, but like, tell me I'm wrong. Your top 5 at the end of your top 3 at the end of FP2 was Oscar, Lando, and George.
And your bottom 5 were Esteban, Pierre, Yuki, Lance, and Nico. And not much happened for FP3, honestly. So let's get right into the top 3 with Oscar, Lando, Charles.
And your bottom 5, we had Oliver, Lance, Gabriel, Nico, and Yuki.
Now, when we got to quali, it felt like Track Limits was just out to get everybody this weekend. Bahrain feels like it's one of those circuits that it's just like, keep a tally every time you hear the phrase Track Limits, because it just keeps coming. And we kind of started Q1 off with Track Limits immediately with Lance Stroll, because good God, was the Track Limits ghost back.
But at the same time, we had Fernando in first. Talk about, again, his luck just changes. So when he's up, he's high. And then when he's down low, he is down low.
Aston, please, I need you to get it together. Please and thank you very, very much.
To be honest, when I saw them go out at the very, very start of qualifying, when everyone but Hulk stayed put, something just felt off. Then teams don't usually go out so early in the session if they feel confident they can place well, it seems. And can we just talk about the Red Bulls just risking it all with only being on an outlap? Both of them 90 seconds from the end. Hello?
They took a page out of the Mercedes strategy when it comes to qualifications, for sure. Now, you guys know I'm a big Yuki fan. Yuki only. Let's get that straight. Okay. And I know you guys heard me scream when I saw him go first for a hot second. And then Jack Doohan in P1. Amazing.
Now, I know for a fact, y'all heard me absolutely lose my mind over Jack Doohan. Go off, King. I love you so damn much. But to see Yuki go from first to a lap deletion, guys, I really need the track limits thing to just stop being such an issue. I don't know what the issue is. Maybe it's the new F1 cars and just like the dimensions of them, but like track limits, it's just quali. It's literally just quali, and we're seeing so much track limits. It's so crazy.
At this point, just widen the tracks a bit more. It's going to cost money, but it's not like they don't have the money, so just widen them. It's no big deal.
I mean, to be honest, they widened the cars. I mean, we see it at Monaco all the time, like the issues with the modern F1 cars, the wider cars. So why not widen them where you can? Monaco, of course, no dice, but the rest, yes. But also, Max also had track limit issues. Thankfully for Red Bull, it was only on the outlap, so it didn't really count.
I don't know why Red Bull felt the need to stress me out all weekend. Just been stressing me out. Guys, please get it together. By the end of Q1, your top 3 was Lando, Lewis, and Max.
And out of the session, we had Alex, Liam, Gabriel, Lance, and Oliver.
Honestly, I think the best thing to come out of Q1, for me at least, was the damn Alpine boys. They were just cooking. Go off, gentlemen.
It's a great feeling seeing them up there, especially after the rough start they had to this season, but I feel like that's very typical of Alpine, where they just have like a really good weekend where they just like pop off and then they kind of just like fall off again. But we shall see.
Amen. They came out of nowhere. Dare I say, unlike VCARB.
The DRS issues for VCARB and Liam were just like so not ideal. That's like the bare minimum I will give you, is that timing was so sucky. But like it's been a little bit since we've seen somebody have a DRS issue, so like I guess it was time. Dare I say, bring back the Oscar Piastri DRS chronicles on Twitter?
I know he is still happy about it going away next year, but that's for another day. Now we go into Q2, and it was kind of a quiet start to the session. And if you look at our notes, you just see all of us just say SD with a bunch of exclamation points, because I literally gasped and scrumped so loud. He, as in Esteban, straight up just lost it and ended up in the barriers. He is okay. It was rough to watch, but a double wave yellow came out later that turned into a red flag.
As Mel said, all of us literally went, oh my God, Esty, no, because I literally wrote, Jesus Christ, Esty, because my heart actually stopped for a hot second. I didn't know what happened. I had looked down and looked up, and all I saw was Esty in the barriers, and I got really friggin' scared.
Yeah, I'm joining the SD no train, because when they panned to him, I was shocked because I didn't even realize it was happening. Like, I was watching. I was not looking down or anywhere else. And it was just, all of a sudden, him in the wall. I'm like, what the frick happened? Then again, he's in a Haas. And we all know Bahrain and Haas just don't seem to mix well.
I do have to say, Godspeed to that garage crew who has to fix Esty's car, though, because, oh God, they have some miracles to work.
Miracles indeed. And you just know Gene Haas is somewhere punching air at that moment. Poor guy, poor team can just not get a break.
At least Laura Nesbon seemed relatively calm with the whole situation. Iconic duo.
But, like, honestly, though, hearing how calm she was over the radio was just so nice to hear. Like, she sounded calm but also concerned at the same time. It was just, like, really nice and very, like, human feeling, if that makes sense. But, like, my favorite thing of this quali session is yet again the Alpine boys, because go off, Jack. Seeing Jackie Boy ahead of Pierre was just really, really nice for a little bit. I do have to say my heart absolutely shattered because he was so close to making it through to Q3, and I would have had an absolute conniption.
Not gonna lie, the Alpines are doing pretty well this weekend. For not having scored any points so far this season, and they're the only team sitting at 0 right now. But also, what is wrong with Red Bull? Like, they've been on the struggle bus since FE1, basically. Also, side note, both Mercs left the garage before the restart time after, during the whole red flag situation. Sorry, I'm gonna redo that. Side note, both Mercs left the garage before the restart time was announced after the red flag, and they got noted for it. Because you're not allowed to do that. But they will be investigated after the session. So we'll see what comes of that.
Your top 3 at the end of Q2 was Oscar, Lando, and Pierre Gasly.
And out is Jack, Isaac, Nico, Fernando, and Esteban.
Now, moving into Q3, there was definitely something off with the Red Bull. They just like were not hooking it up in the way that they needed to. I don't know what the heck was going off with them, but something is not right in their universe. That is for sure. But the craziest thing for me was actually seeing Lewis and Kimmy's lap times get deleted for track limits because, like, what's going on with the track limits, people?
Amen. What's with the track limits? Is this Austria?
Seeing Kimmy Antonelli on provisional pole was not something that I had on my bingo card by any stretch of the imagination, people.
Now, I was missing the last few minutes of quali. Dog mom props. We had to take her to the vet. She is okay. She is okay. Just some shots. Anyways, so we were watching it on our phones, and the scream I scrumped when I saw Kimmy up there, it was a really short-lived moment.
The dethroning from George a second after Kimmy put it on pole, it hurt. Not gonna lie.
Honestly, it was the post-race chaos of, like, Nico Hulkenberg getting a lap deletion 45 minutes after the quali session. Like, what? That felt so messed up to me. I don't know. You should have seen our group chat, people, because we were freaking out over all of the updates because it was constantly impacting our ability to make our final grid graphic.
I mean, also the top three, they were chaos personified. I hated and I loved it. But also, how are the McLarens so far apart? Hello?
You guys, if you guys can see the chaos that was going on in this group chat, especially our marketing one, because I was the one that did the grid graphics. I don't know how many times I had to edit it to make sure it was like correct, because I go off by the F1 like official pages to make sure they're all correct. And then I refreshed it and the original post was gone and I was like, great. And then 2 seconds later, it updated with the Nico penalty. And then the news of both Mercs getting their one place grid penalty, it was straight chaos. Your girl had to go in again and update those graphics. But I mean, hey, it's just a day in the life, you know?
The things we do for the sport that we love, people. Your original top 10 was Oscar in P1, George in P2, Charles in P3, Kimmy in P4, Pierre in P5, Lando in P6, Max in P7, Carlos in P8, Lewis in P9, and Yuki rounding us out in P10.
Now, after all that chaos, your now starting top 10 looked like this. P1 for Oscar, P2 for Charles, P3 George, Pierre in P4, Kimmy in P5, Lando in P6, Max in P7, Carlos in P8, Lewis in P9, and of course, Yuki rounding out the top 10.
Now, we have to move right on into the race because what's a race recap without talking about the race, people? Oh my God, the start of this race had me so friggin' stressed.
The fight for P2 and 3 had me watching through my fingers. Not gonna lie, like, don't do this to me. Charles, please don't.
I'm with you, Ito, because knowing that he was in P2, I literally, as soon as the light turned green and like you hear the beep, I was just like, come on, Charles, please, just please, a clean, good start. But I gotta give credit when credit's due, because what a start from Lando. But as a Ferrari and Charles fan, I was pretty sad.
I threw my phone, not gonna lie, when that happened. And let's just say, at that point, I needed Charles back in the top 3, at the very least.
I really, really need to understand why there were so many lockups at the start of this race, because oh my goodness, what the hell was going on?
While I can't give you an answer as to why that happened, it definitely added to the chaos, and my heart didn't like it. Neither did my dog, my screaming, when it happened.
I did not have Lando Norris with a false start, potentially, on my bingo card for Bahrain. Like, I actually dropped my phone when the graphic hit my TV screen because I really and truly did not see that coming.
Neither did I, honestly. And as much as I'm not a McLaren girly, sorry, don't kill me, please. It would definitely suck if that would turn out to be true. Though, when I saw the replays and stuff, it kinda started to look obvious. Not gonna lie.
Now, it definitely was a race with some fun overtakes. And one of the ones I really enjoyed was Kimi overtaking Carlos. Like, all I thought was like, okay, Kimi, go ahead. I see you.
Also, he's in front of Max. Go off, King.
Well, speaking of Max, my favorite thing with the replays of the different angles of Lando Norris' start was the fact that we got the shot of Max's POV and the fact that Max Verstappen absolutely sniped that Lando was over the line. And like when you look at the overhead shot, you can clearly see like, oh, sir, your tire is definitely ahead of that line. It was very clearly going to be a penalty incoming for sure. But getting the vantage point from Max was just really cool.
It was definitely giving enemies on track and besties off track at that moment.
TBH, better that than enemies on and off track. Also, TBH, who cares? It isn't as if they were teammates and can impact the constructors, etc. So it just adds some spice in my book.
And as predicted, Lando Norris did get a penalty for a false start. He got a 5-second penalty. And then we had Pierre Gasly looking super racy on track. I loved to see it. If you follow Alpine on Threads, I highly recommend that you do if you do not, because they literally dropped the Pierre Gasly a la Danny Rick as their caption post quali, and it just made me giggle because everybody needs a little Danny Rick Pierre Gasly moment because it's just perfect.
I love when Pierre is in his A game. Like, it just shows what good of a driver he is. Just give him a good car. Alpine, I'm talking to you. And again, it goes to show Alpine has their highs when they have their highs and their lows when they have their lows. And it just sucks because I like seeing Pierre fighting for the top.
Amen. And I mean, he does have a race win, so he can do it. And Alpine just needs him to do well. Also, did anyone clock Lewis's move on Carlos? It was amazing. Even if he was overtaken a second later, and then they just battled it out for a very hot second, which ultimately let Yuki squeeze past Carlos and slot in behind Lewis. Like, chef's kiss. It very much gives and through goes Hamilton for Yuki.
Now, of course, it wouldn't be a typical race weekend without some pit stop catastrophe because there was one hell of a long pit stop for Max. A whopping 4.7 seconds. And if you know Red Bull, that's very out of character for Red Bull. And that man was not a happy man. And I gotta say, it's pretty valid. And then the same thing happened to Yuki. Their exit lights were simply not working. So I guess that's what was causing the delay on them exiting their pit. But what made me laugh was Yuki's literal, oh my God.
It sucked so bad, not gonna lie. But when I saw Max tumble to 17th before I saw like the pit stop chaos, and I was like, how? But seeing the replay, it all made sense. Even if it sucked. Because we all know Red Bull is known for their sub 2 second pit stops usually. Also, can we talk about Kimi's move on Max? Chef's kiss. And Jack, between Max and Lewis? Hello? What is with the Alpines this weekend?
We saw a black and white flag for both Kimi Antonelli and Isaac Hadjar for, yep, you guessed it, track limits with like 34 laps left in the race too. Like, goodness gracious.
Now, Max Honestly, if you ask me and probably every other F1 fan out there, he was just having a rough race weekend overall because he had another long pit stop and it dropped him down to 20th at lap 37.
I really, really do not understand what's going on in the house of Red Bull right now, but it is stressing me the F out, people.
Might Lawrence have cursed them when he signed Newey?
If we're being honest, it probably wasn't even him. It was probably Newey leaving them a hex as he was leaving Red Bull. But at this rate, who knows? Who knows? And the chaos just continues because Carlos and Yuki made contact and literal debris was just flying around out in the wild, and it was just not pretty to watch. But then at lap 32, there was a safety car out to clean up the debris from said incident.
But like, why? It felt so odd to me.
It definitely was a choice. That's all I can say.
My guess? They wanted chaos.
Well, we definitely did get chaos because we for sure got chaos in the pits.
Also, did anyone clock Lewis's radio during the whole safety car? So cute. That's all I'm gonna say.
I do have to say, I have a love-hate relationship with like race restarts when there's been a red flag because they really stress me out and it's just not good for my anxiety, people.
Definitely was not because the scream again that I scrumped with that Ferrari sandwich with Lando in between. If you guys can see the living room, that's all. But if you look at these notes again, you just see in all caps what happened to Russell because he randomly went from like P2 to P20, but nothing was being shown in the broadcast. So like it was just a lot of questions.
You gotta love when F1 has technical issues. It doesn't happen often, I feel like. But when it does, it makes everyone scratch their head and go, what the heck just happened?
Not gonna lie, I was giggling so hard. Because usually F1 doesn't have tech issues. They're really on top of their things. Like, everything's timed to perfection. But then stuff like this happens.
And we all know Mercury is no longer in retrograde. So, like, what happened? Really? And then we had a 5-second penalty for Liam for his collision with Nico.
On the Mercury retrograde front, we have full moons, though. And that is messing shit up. And also, do Liam and Carlos think it's bumper cars? Though the 5 seconds is a bit harsh, since nothing seemingly came off the car, unlike with the Carlos situation.
And speaking of Carlos, we had a 10-second penalty for him, as well as for going off the track while attempting to overtake Kimi. And then it just led to something that was not easy to see because we all love our chili. He DNF'd.
Not gonna lie, after seeing the side of his car, I'm not surprised that he retired. Even if it hurt, especially after he called out Yuki and Yuki didn't get anything in terms of penalties or whatever.
My heart really, really hurt for that because we know I love chili. But like, good Lord, Carlos is absolutely going to have thoughts on the whole like lack of penalty thing for Yuki, which like I totally get it in some respect, but like, yikes. I do have to say, I know I'm not alone in the fact that I giggled when I heard Oscar Piastri say that his drink system was not working. Like, oh, so calmly. Like, this man is just so friggin' chill.
I mean, they don't call him Mini Iceman for no reason. I would if it was working properly. Oh my god, poor baby. Like, get that man a drink, literally. But at least it isn't too warm by Bahrain standards. Also, the battle between Charles and Oscar's teammate Lando, it's making me scream. Like, Charles, dear God, just hang on. Also, side note, George still has tech issues.
I too was screaming for Charles because I need a Ferrari on the podium at this point for a race. The sprints don't count. We all know they don't, anyways. However, the penalties, the track limits, all that chaos still continues because there was a black and white flag out for Jack due to, you guessed it, track limits. And then George is noted for a DRS infringement. He was told not to open his DRS, but did so on accident.
There was a note that he was going to receive an investigation post-race, which, like, isn't super surprising. It's kind of standard protocol. We saw, yet again, a black and white flag for track limits, this time for Lando Norris. I really don't understand what was going on with track limits because so many black and white flags this race. Oh my God.
And the next victim for the black and white flag, we had Yuki.
Sorry to sound like a broken record, but again, is this Austria? Come on, people, get it together.
At this point, take a drink every time there's a black and white flag, be it coffee or water, whatever. Turn it into a drinking game, people.
Next time I'm bringing out mimosas because I might as well just make it fun, to be honest. And then we literally had another one in DJ Khaled voice, if you will. And this time it was a black and white flag for Max.
Now, I know y'all definitely heard me screaming, quite literally screaming for Oscar. Because, like, pop off, Mr. OP81. Like, Mr. Cool Calm Collected with a win. I love. I also completely did not realize that Bahrain's Sovereign Wealth Fund has taken full ownership of the McLaren Group, which, like, technically makes the Bahrain Grand Prix McLaren's second, air quotes, home race. Like, by technically speaking, like, it qualifies. So, like, that's really cool. I did not realize that until, like, the end of the race.
Honestly, I think no one did, but that makes it even cooler because they mentioned it on the radio. And also, they've never won in Bahrain. Literally, like, perfection. Also, can we talk about the fact that even though, like, McLaren's clear in terms of constructor points and everything, every time Oscar wins, he's helping Max get closer to Lando. Just saying. Like, Max even started thanking him.
Speaking of Max, I love that Maxi got by Pierre, like, at the line. That was just so perfect. I absolutely loved seeing that. But for me, my favorite thing was watching Oliver, Mr. Ollie, Mr. Bear, go from last to 10th. I'm going to say that one more time, just because I feel like this needs to be stressed. Oliver Bierman, little Ollie Beer, put it from last to 10th. So epic.
It was truly one hell of a drive from the Bear Man because when you see the restarts of the race, he just somehow fits perfectly in the middle and, like, just jumped up, and it just goes to show, like, keeping your head low and that focus can get you very, very far. Like, Ollie, pop off.
Amen. Let's go Ollie Bear. Especially because the grid, the spread, isn't actually that big. So him being able to do that is just chef's kiss. And also, remember, he's a rookie.
And of course, your top three for the Bahrain Grand Prix, we had Oscar in first, followed by George in P2 and Lando in P3.
I will say post-race, I was really interested to see if George was going to hold on to his P2, especially, like, post-investigation.
Same here, just because I knew if he was going to get a penalty, Charles was going to move on up, and I just wanted that for my own selfish reasons. But at the same time, I wanted them to settle that situation sooner rather than later because it just gets chaotic the longer we wait.
Yeah, we're not going to get that result quickly. It's the FIA.
Your fastest lap was held by Oscar Piastri, our race winner. Your driver of the day was Lewis Hamilton, which honestly was really well deserved in a lot of reasons. I just love watching Lewis race. It's just always so fun. Post race, we had Jack Doohan getting a 5-second penalty for, you guessed it, people, track limits. Dear God, can we please resolve the traffic limits issues? Please, F1 gods, make it so.
We also need to figure out who put a hex on Jack because at this point, he's cursed. He's been so unlucky. But I honestly love when Oscar wins. The mini Iceman, he stays so cool, calm, and collected whenever like big moments happen. I need to talk to him. I need to see what he does to stay so chill. And I mean, I was really rooting for Charles to finish on the podium, but I'll take 4th and 5th for the Ferrari men. Baby steps, I guess, is their strategy with their upgrades. If you ask me, I need them to do bigger steps. But anyways, I'm not too upset with the race. The black and white flags, some small collisions, overtakes. I mean, we love a little chaos. And hey, I got my P1 and P3 predictions right this time around.
I will agree with Mel. I love watching Oscar win. Oscar has just wormed his way into my heart. So, like, obviously I like watching Oscar win. But, like, selfishly, I also like it because it means that, like, at least my P1 prediction was accurate last race. I do need Red Bull to figure out what is going on with their car because it's driving me a little crazy. I will say that I feel like Bahrain was a really nice race recovery after like Suzuka being so kind of chill, which is so out of character for Suzuka. So it was nice to have a race with a little bit of chaos. I will say I loved the cool down room content that we got this race. The amount of times that George Russell said, "Oh geez, that man is so posh." I can't. I simply cannot with him. I love a little cool down room podcast, but this really felt like a cool down room narration, if you will, a cool down room audiobook. Take your pick.
I mean, honestly, George is just a meme at this point, and he knows that, and he leans into it. But honestly, I loved this race, even if it was somewhat dull, dare I say, in certain parts. But as Amy said, nice recovery from Suzuka. So, who am I to complain? It just had enough spice to keep me going. And we are slowly but surely getting teams to challenge the McLarens, which no doubt will make this a very interesting season, hopefully. And hopefully the Ferrari boys will figure out what they're ish and get in on the teams challenging the McLarens soon. Because we are definitely seeing some improvements, as Mel said, baby steps. But I need more. And also, hat off to George. His technical issues seemed very rough. Hope he won't get that penalty though. It would suck. Also, some post-race updates because we all know we've been waiting for those. And they took their sweet time. Nico got disqualified for plank wear. No. Give that man a break. And then, as I mentioned, George, with his DRS situation, thankfully, no further action. Thank you, Lord. But Carlos sadly got 2 penalty points and a 10-second penalty due to forcing Kimi off track. Give that man a break. He's in Williams. Just give him a break.
Now it's time for our chaotic part of the episode, our PGP predictions for next week's race in Saudi Arabia. Now, I see the McLaren boys continuing on in their run, so for this round, I'm going to go with Oscar in P1 again, Lando in P2, and for P3, I don't know. I kind of see George finishing the top 3. He's just been on fire, and as much as I hate to say this, that Mercedes has been on their A game too. Again, I'd rather see my team Ferrari finish on the top, but I don't want to jinx them, so wherever they finish, I will be happy with.
I, as always, pulled out my pendulum for my predictions, and I really cannot wait to see what the heck is going to go down in Jeddah. But my pendulum gave me P1 as Charles Leclerc, P2 as Oscar Piastri, and P3 as Max Verstappen. I would not be opposed to that podium at all, to be really honest, people.
And my magic dice is out with a podium prediction of Oscar, George, and Ollie. I guess the dice like today's podium with the addition of Behrman, which I'm not mad at for once, because you guys know I usually think, what the hell is my taste doing? But I just love it this time around. Even though P3 is his usual wild card, I'm not mad at it. Ollie drove into the points from last today, so he might end up on the podium next weekend.
And to close out the episode, we have a driver, or in this case, it's drivers of the week, and we've got to give it to the rookies because honestly, they really impressed all of us this weekend, and I've got to give them their claps because they've been killing it. Well done, boys. And that's a wrap on our Bahrain GP recap. From drama in the desert to sparks flying on and off track, Bahrain definitely didn't disappoint. If your heart's still racing, bestie, same. Thank you so much for hanging out with us in the paddock. We loved yapping with you as always. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Follow us on socials so you don't miss a thing. Everywhere we are Paddock Girls Podcast, except for Twitter and Blue Sky, where we are Paddock Girls Pod. Next up, Saudi Arabia, baby. We will be diving into everything that goes down under the lights in Jeddah. You know it's going to be spicy, so we will see you on the next lap. Okay, bye.
Bye.
See ya.